Like they always say, quality over quantity. A tried and true wisdom that has never failed anyone. You know what? I don't buy that. I think the phrase quality over quantity is a trap. Basically, it's this kind of faux wisdom that can poison your mind into believing you can solve your lack of experience with more time. If you're a DM, you might think about delaying tonight's session because you aren't ready to run, or maybe you need more time to prep, or you need to know your source material better. I think it's the wrong attitude. So I'm here to issue a challenge. Next time you're not ready to run a D&D session, don't cancel. I want you to embrace your ignorance, your imperfections, and charge right into danger. It might suck a little. I sometimes do. But afterwards, you will have gained experience. Literally XP. Like a D&D character, you will level up as a dungeon master, so the next time you're unprepared, you've got the DM equivalent of action surge. I'm talking about improv skills. Welcome to Mystic Arts, where I conceal life advice as D&D advice and hope nobody notices. I'm just talking about leaving your comfort zone. My name is Daði. I'm a professional writer and director, and I've been DMing for 10 years. So I was on a Discord call with some fellow dungeon tubers because that's something I get to do now. Incredible. And we were talking about some inside baseball stuff. Analytics, views, click-through rates, and the YouTube algorithm. And eventually about video output. Basically how to manage a consistent upload schedule, how we manage to put up a video every week despite having a demanding day job and running several games. The secret is hard work and collaboration. There's two of us. And then my new friend, Grant, he's responsible for the YouTube channel Mossy Antler, which is criminally underrated. Go check out one of his videos, link in the description. Anyway, he was talking about how he struggles with perfectionism. Wait, how did you put it, Grant?
My skills don't match my tastes.
Right. Yeah, I sympathize. We've all been there. You know what good stuff is, and you feel like your own stuff isn't up to that standard? Well, his solution was to...
I put in more time and effort to make up the difference.
That makes so much sense. I've done that. It seems like a natural reaction. But here's the rub. This results in him posting fewer videos. So in the end, he'll gain experience slower than someone who posts more frequently. I promise this video is about GMing. We'll get there. Don't change the channel. So what did I tell Grant? I told him he had to be less of a perfectionist, that quality isn't better than quantity, that he was falling into a trap. I suggested that his chase for the perfect video might be denying him the experience he'd get from just making more videos. That if he spent a little less time fiddling with J cuts and L cuts, he maybe could make videos a little more frequently and he'd learn new things along the way. I didn't tell him to start making slop content. Quality is obviously incredibly important. It's just not more important than quantity. I mean, obviously it's better to do one great thing than 50 terrible things. That's not a question, but that's a false dichotomy, isn't it? If you're spending forever on making one great thing, you could spend a little less time and make two great things. Or a third pretty good but not perfect thing. We make mistakes all the time on this channel, and if we spent way more time on it, we might have even better quality, but we're pretty happy with our quality, and every video we make teaches us something about how to make them quicker, better, easier, prettier, better written, because the two aren't mutually exclusive. Quality requires experience. Quantity gives you that experience. So what does all this have to do with being a GM? I'm sure you're following along, but in case you aren't, it's simple. The more games you run, the better you will be at running the game. There is no preparation you can do in substitute for running the game. You can obviously improve your game with some homework, preparation, reading the rules, world building. That's all hugely important. But if we go back to our XP analogy from before, those kind of things are like a combo multiplier. You only get GM XP from actually running the game. And if you run the game in the optimal circumstances, you get more XP out of it. If you never run and just spend all your time prepping, you never gain the XP. This is true for every art form and craft, by the way. You can maximize your chances of success, but there's no supplement for doing the work and gaining experience. I've heard this referred to as getting your reps in, as in when you go to the gym, you need to do several reps of each exercise. Right, hang on, D&D nerds. Reps means repetitions. You repeat an exercise, like say lifting heavy weights several times in order to maximize the exercise. I mean, you could go into the gym, pick up the heaviest weight and struggle as you nearly crap yourself lifting it up, and then plop it back on the ground and leave and cancel your gym membership. But that's not going to make you buff. You got to do it nonstop. 12 reps per exercise several times a week and you'll get results eventually. or so they tell me. DMing is the same. You cannot run a one-shot so freaking good you become a god-tier dungeon master overnight. Even if that one-shot was amazing, you're not a great dungeon master until you can repeat it comfortably. That might be discouraging, but it shouldn't be. DMing is incredibly fun, and it's actually not that hard once you've done it a few times. I love it. It's my favorite way of spending an evening. You can do it. You just stop worrying about being perfect and run a game that's fun for you and your friends, and then you do it again and again. You become better and better every time, and you'll have fun the whole time if you let yourself embrace the imperfections. There's this parable from the book Art and Fear. It goes like this. A ceramics teacher announced on opening day that he was dividing the class into 2 groups. All of those on the left side of the studio, he said, would be graded solely on the quantity of the work they produce. All those on the right side solely on its quality. His procedure was simple. On the final day of class, he would bring his bathroom scales and weigh the work of the quantity group. 50 pounds of pots rated an A, 40 pounds a B, so on. Those being graded on quality, however, needed to produce only 1 pot, albeit a perfect one, to get an A. Well, come grading time, and a curious fact emerged. The works of the highest quality were all produced by the group graded for quantity. It seems that while the quantity group was churning out piles of work and learning from their mistakes, the quality group had sat theorizing about perfection, and in the end had little more to show for their efforts than grandiose theories and a pile of dead clay. It's about iteration, change, adaptation. You can only learn from your failures, and then you've got an opportunity later to adapt, mature, overcome, and move on to improve. And with RPGs, it gets even better. You can do all that in real time. You can mess up and course correct mid-session into a whole other idea you just had. You can play Quantum Ogre and shuffle your plot around until it's in the right spot, or you roll on a random encounter table and run an encounter with a surprise owlbear. So your fear of messing up will slowly fade the more you mess up and realize that it's okay. It's not that big a deal. Just keep running the game and having fun. I often find my heart sink when I hear someone tell me they've been working on a thing for 12 years or something similarly intense. I get invited to a movie premiere of some indie film a friend of mine worked on, and I hear the first-time director talk about their 8-year passion project we're about to watch, and I get terrified. Don't get me wrong, loads of long-term passion projects turn out amazing, but a lot of the time, I come out thinking those creatives could have made a better film that night if they'd made more than one film in those 8 years. Experience creates quality, but experience comes from quantity. The two aren't mutually exclusive. In fact, you need both to excel. Stephen King has written 65 novellas, and he's incredible. Would his books be better if he wrote fewer of them? Steven Spielberg directed 36 feature films, and Schindler's List and Jurassic Park were released in the same year. He worked on both of them simultaneously, hopping between dinosaurs and the Holocaust literally on the same day for months on end. That's insane. Would either of those movies have been better if he'd only done one of them? Those 2 films are iconic, kind of a unique, once-in-a-lifetime theater experience. Jurassic Park won 3 Oscars. Schindler's List won 7. I don't know, I'm hard-pressed to believe if he'd only done one of those films, he somehow would have come home with more than 10 Oscars that night. Or even more Oscars per film if he'd spread them out. So what's the point of this video? Don't emphasize quality. No? Of course not. I'm a big fan of putting in the effort to stand out. I'm a big fan of going the extra mile, even when you didn't have to. But I'm also a big fan of restricting creativity to make sure I actually create regularly and on time, to make sure there is content to enjoy. Voltaire said it so succinctly. Perfect is the enemy of the good. That's a good maxim, but let's drill down on it a little, because I think it's also important to remember that the pursuit of perfection is anathema to art. That's a decent maxim too, isn't it? I should get that on a t-shirt. Only that's the danger. If anything, that's the point of the video. Maxims aren't panacea. You cannot fix all your problems with a catchy phrase that describes how best to live your life. Anytime someone's got a maxim that serves as a one-stop shop cure for all life, you should be stopping to think about it. Really think, because you can take that meaning too far. Any wisdom, if applied too literally, becomes dogmatic idiocy. If you choose to live by the words imagine people complexly, good words, you invite yourself into the tolerance paradox. And if you live by the tolerance paradox, you fail to imagine others complexly. So are both of those ideas worthless? No. You hold both in your head at the same time, and then you must tread through the complexity. Therein lies true wisdom. That's where we'll pick it up next time. Thanks so much for watching this video. This channel is run by me and my girlfriend, and if you want to support us in our efforts of running the channel, consider becoming a patron or channel member. If you're feeling especially generous, you might like the video, comment, share, or subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we release new videos. Until next time, keep studying the mystic arts.